Oh, okay. So, greetings from Tokyo, my friends. Just getting ready here. And oh, great. Hello. Um, just give me 1 second here while I get going here. Oh, yes. So I see. Oh, gosh, what's going on here? Sorry about this. Okay, great. So, greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke with another uh, unannounced live stream. So I apologize for the lack of announcement. I hope you can forgive me, but uh, this is a just a it's what is it? It's Saturday morning here in Tokyo, and it is November 9th here. So I'm hoping that all of you are doing very well. And let's see. So I wanted to, well, most importantly, I wanted to say hello to all of you. And I hope, my dear friends, I hope you are well. That is the most important thing, of course, that you and your family and friends are doing well and that you are taking good care of yourselves. And that when that is taken care of, that you are also watching a lot of great movies, right? Because that's what is that thing that we all have in common, right? We love watching movies. So it's always a pleasure for me to be able to connect with you through these live streams in real time, so to speak, because it's just gives that it gives me that little extra thrill, so to speak, of being able to talk with you live. You know how these things are. You know, I think the more opportunities to be able to talk live, I think it becomes much more of an exciting thing for me. And not to say that YouTube as a whole isn't exciting. I think it's really great, and it's been such a wonderful opportunity for me to try to meet a lot of people. But there's just something about being able to talk with someone live that's just so appealing and very charming. So I wanted to take this opportunity to make a kind of maybe not really, it's not really a major update, it's just a very minor update, and then we can go from there. But the thing that I wanted to mention, it was that I just wanted to have a kind of, what is it, a gentle reminder, which was, at the moment I am still currently what's the phrase? Well, let me take that back. At the moment, currently, there is a poll that I am currently still leaving open. The poll is asking you, the viewers, to provide to me your 10 favorite Criterion titles. Now, there is a video that I did to basically announce the poll and to give viewers just some maybe some guidance as to what the general, I don't want to say rules, but general rules are for the poll. And so that was sometime last month, and it's still ongoing. It will be open until the end of this month. So now it's November 9th, so it'll be open until the end of the month, so the 30th of November. And then once the poll is closed, I will gather all the data, compile all the data, and I will essentially announce what the results of the poll are. Now, I have been going back and forth about how I should make the announcement and things like that. But what I think I will do is I think the poll is very, very interesting. Now, I've already been compiling the poll results up to now, and it is it's a very, very interesting results so far. But it's still open, and so the results are really interesting. That I think what I'll do is, instead of just announcing what is it, the top 10 or something like that, I will announce the entire list. So even the ones that got only one, or only, I mean, still one vote, I think is really, really great. But even for those that got just the one vote, I will still want to announce it. In other words, it's my intention to announce the entire list. I'll probably say, oh, here are the titles that got one vote, and here are the titles that got two votes, all the way up to the titles that got the most votes, and that'll be a way of presenting it. So that's my plan. And the reason for that is because I think the entirety of the list that I've seen so far, as I've compiled it, is very interesting. It is very interesting. It's interesting to see what has been mentioned, and it's also interesting to see what the top selections are. And also it's interesting to see, therefore, what titles have not been mentioned. I think it's one of those things about at least I think about, these sort of top 10 lists and things like that. It's also interesting to see what titles aren't mentioned. And sometimes that kind of analysis helps me to try to find new titles to try to discover, as well as finding titles on the list that I haven't seen, etc. So, in other words, these are the general reasons why I think it's probably the most productive use of everyone's time with respect to this poll that I announce the entire thing. I think that's only fair. So I will announce the entire thing at the end, so in December, as soon as possible. But that means that in the meantime, you have the opportunity, my friends, if you haven't participated already, to go to the poll and you can participate. Now, the poll is actually a video on my channel, and it's called Favorite Criterion Titles Poll or something like that. I think I posted it at the beginning of October. And so if you can go to that video on my channel, you can see the rules in the description box there, and then you can then submit to me as a comment to that video your 10 favorite Criterion titles, and you can determine what your favorite Criterion titles is based on what I've tried to describe in the description box there. So you have until the end of November, so that's about 3 weeks or so. So it's still enough time, and also, of course, now it's November, so those of us in North America, for those of us who are able to enjoy and take advantage of the Barnes & Noble sale, the Criterion sale, which is currently ongoing, then that means, of course, this is probably also a nice time to think about Criterions. One can also think about the Criterions in the context of the collection all the way up to the most recent releases. So there are, I think, I think now is a really great time to think about Criterion, to think about what it has to offer, and to actually look at the releases, if you're thinking about physical media releases, or to try to explore what's on the Criterion channel, because I do think that Criterion channel titles are things that can be mentioned, and so I would say yes, very much so. Please, November is a really great month for Criterion, and so that's one of the reasons why, or that's the main reason why I decided to leave the poll open through the end of the month. So, my friends, if you are interested, and if you haven't participated yet, you have until the end of the month, and so it'll be my pleasure to get your votes or to get your entries, and I will count up everything, and then I'll present it to you accordingly. I think I haven't given an exact count as to exactly how many people have participated so far, but it's over 100. And so that is so great. I was actually kind of worried. Well, not worried, but I was just a little bit concerned, perhaps. I don't know how many people would be interested at the start, and maybe it would be not many people, and so that would mean that it would be kind of a very limited kind of poll in terms of the results. But I was so encouraged almost immediately by the response that I was getting, and people have been so kind of thinking about this so carefully. I've received a number of messages saying, it was a very hard choice, but I was thinking about it a lot. I wanted to take my time, etc., etc. And so I really want to thank you so much. I want to applaud your efforts. I want to extend to you my gratitude for really taking so much time and care for this question that I asked. And so I just am very moved. So I want to say thank you very much for those of you who participated thus far and who have obviously you have shown such a dedication and care to trying to convey to me and to the rest of us the films in the Criterion Collection that you love. And so I think the very least that I can do is respect that choice that you've made to the best of my ability. And I think one way for me to be able to do that is to explain the entirety of the list from the very beginning all the way up to the top, the number one film, so to speak. So that's what I plan to do in December, as soon as possible in December. I should say that I don't want to give away anything at the moment now, because that kind of would spoil the surprise of it. But the top films, let's say the top 5 films are, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with the films that are in that top 5. Of course, it could change depending on how many people decide to submit their votes between now and the end of November. But as it stands now, and I have the list that's current as of now, it's a very interesting list. And I think people, when they look at it, I think will be very, I think they will be very happy with the results. That's my own hunch, but I think they'll be very happy with the results based on the content and the nature of the films themselves that are featured there. So I'm really very excited to be able to share this with you. So, and also please note, and I'll get to the comments in a second, but one more thing is that it's just, I'm really trying to make sure that I don't get my math wrong, and I'm just trying to count as much as possible. So all it is just when I get your comment with your list, I then take it, and then I take one title at a time, and I have a spreadsheet, and I put the title in the spreadsheet, or if it's there, I put the vote tally there, and then I put other information there, and that's for one at a time, and I cross it off to make sure there's no risk of me double voting or anything like that, and then I have to double check the counting and stuff. So it's just me right there with the spreadsheet, and so I'm trying to make sure, because I'm only human, and so I can make errors in terms of my counting, but I'm doing my best to make sure that my errors are as reduced or as minimal or as non-existent as possible. But it is only me, so there's a little bit of time that I need on my end to make sure I get everything exactly right. But I will. I'm doing my very best with that. But as I say, it's the very least that I can do, because I really want to show you once again my appreciation to you for the amount of time and consideration that you have put into making your selections. And I really feel that, and I really want to just extend to you once again my deepest thanks. And then for those of you for whom you haven't yet submitted but you want to, you still have time. There's plenty of time left, but the end of the month. So that's what I wanted to say about that. So anyway, my friends, you can check out that video, which is on my channel at the moment. So anyway, my friends, I hope you're well with that, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so really quickly, let's go to the chat room here. Wow, there's so many people here. Thank you very much. Excuse me, as it is with the mornings here, it's a little bit chilly here in Tokyo. It's not bad, it's just a little bit chilly, but maybe it might, you know how it is when the weather changes, sometimes one can get a little bit blocked up in with runny nose or something like. It's not a cold or anything like that, but it's just one of those things with the morning. So if I do a little sniffle or something, I apologize for my rudeness, but I hope you can forgive me. But in any event, my friends, Carl's Ransom Reviews is here. Hello, how are you? I'm well, thank you. I've just woken up, so I hope you're doing well as well. And Mike, our dear friend in Las Vegas, I hope you're well. You know, I might have mentioned this before, but I did go to, I went to Las Vegas, was it once, I think? Yes, it was. I did go to Las Vegas, and it was a lot of fun. And was it in Las Vegas? Oh, gosh, I forget where it was. It could have, you know, I have to remember that. It could have been Las Vegas, or it could have been the casino in the when my wife and I were staying in the Caribbean area. Oh God, but I want to say it's Las Vegas. You know, it was a casino. It was a hotel casino resort, and I remember I was walking through the hotel resort, you know, the whatever, the shopping mall area, or the shop where the stores were, and I remember I saw an actor who was in Bugsy Malone, and so that was a really big deal for me. And so it was Fat Sam in Bugsy Malone, and so that was a really big deal. And actually, I took the courage. I summoned up the courage to go up to him. I didn't take any picture, because, but I summoned up the courage to say, hello, you know, I know you're in Bugsy Malone. And he was by then, of course, a grown-up person, but you could still tell it was him. And I summoned up the courage, and I told him, you know, I'm such a big fan of you and Bugsy Malone. I want to let you know, I'm sorry to bother you, but I want to let you know that you really provided me with a lot of great childhood memories. So I want to say thank you, and I'm sorry to intrude upon your holiday, because he was obviously on a family holiday, and so that was really great. And he was very gracious and very kind, and he was. He was very, he said, "Oh, thank you very much for your kind comment," and you know, I want to just really kind. So I just want to see, it's John Cassisi. Yes, thank you. So Fat Sam. So John Cassisi. So that was him, and he was just like a regular guy with, I think he was with his family, and but you could tell it was him immediately, and I was just so thrilled just to be able to have seen him. And then that was it. But yeah, but that was a long time ago, and so I don't quite remember. Shame on me for not being able to remember this. I think it was Las Vegas, though. I think it was Las Vegas, but it was in a kind of casino hotel resort. So anyway, sorry about that. I hope you're well, Mike, my dear friend. Salim, hello. I hope you're well, my friend. JR62 is here as well. Hello. Fleagle Fargle is here. Hello, my friend. I hope you're well. Chandler Chavez, hello. It's nice to see you. Melinda, our dear friend Melinda, I hope you're well. Chandler Chavez says, have you seen Parasite? Yes. So Parasite, I have not seen Parasite yet. Now, I am trying to figure out how I can see it here in Tokyo. I'm not quite sure actually in terms of the theaters here, but it might be that I will probably have to wait until it comes out on some kind of home media version, although I really want to see it in the theaters. But it's my suspicion that it will be released in Japan very soon, given the high profile publicity and buzz it has been getting. Of course, since its festival circuit run, and now with its incredible energy that it has, or it seems to be having in its theatrical run overseas. So I will be looking forward to that. Hopefully I can catch that in the theater, but let's see. Sin81, hello, how are you? Joel Jacobson, hello, it's nice to see you, my friend. Yarne Paulos, what's the oldest film that really touched you? The oldest film? I don't know. I haven't. I mean, just. I guess I don't know if it's the oldest film, but it's an old film that touched me. City Lights, I think. Charlie Chaplin's City Lights, I think that touched me, but I don't know if that's the oldest film. I really have to think about that one, but it is one of the oldest films that has touched me. How about you? I hope you're well, my friend. And Jared, hello. Chandler Chavez says, "Where can I find the poll?" Yes, it's in a video in the channel. So, Lockjeb, hello. Let's see. Oh, some people can't find the poll. So, sorry about that. So, if you go to the let's see. If you go to the video tab, it's not in the community tab, it's in the video tab. Just go around and see Criterion poll. It'll be around the start of October. There's also a search function, so you can put in the search function search. Also, I've put it up. You know, when you open my, when you're not just my YouTube channel, but when you open any YouTube channel, it has the home page of the YouTube channel, and I think I've put it up on the video as the video to be the featured video on my home page of the YouTube channel. At least I've done that many times. I don't know. Sometimes I have trouble with the settings, but our YouTube doesn't allow me to do that smoothly. But I have that as my default video on my home page, YouTube homepage. So, there is that. Oh, very good choice, Joel, for the most moving film, the oldest film that moved you. Wings from 1927, very interesting. Punk Nerd, hello, hello again. Crash Kart Wrestling. Oh, it's a great name. Hi, Deski. How are you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. How are you? I hope you're well. I love that name, by the way. It's great. And oh yeah, so Punk Nerd mentions Black Friday. I didn't realize this. So now it's Black Friday. Is it the Black Friday? Right. That's right. Because is it? I always forget how Black Friday, what the timing is for Black Friday over there in the States is. But now it's November 9th, so in a couple weeks it'll be Thanksgiving, right? So okay, I see. Let's see, Carl, hello. I haven't done it yet. We're talking about the Criterion list. It's so hard to separate 10 as the best. There are so many awesome releases. Yes, I agree. I completely agree. Super Pineapple Jones, hello, and also asking about Parasite. So yes, I haven't seen it yet, but that's I'm not sure what the release plans are for it here in Japan. I'm sure it'll get a release, but just I'm not sure when, or it has maybe, and I missed it. I don't know, but I don't think it's been released yet. But I have to double check that. Andre, hello, it's nice to see you. Anita Bong hit 2.0. Hello, Jeremy B finally picked up the David Lean set. Great. Now I want the Dietrich and von Sternberg set. Never ends. It certainly doesn't. I completely sympathize. Marlon, our dear friend, hello. It's nice to see you. Austin R. Hall. Daisuke, I hope you're well. Thank you for asking. Yes, I am. Really love your channel. Doing great. Well, thank you very much, Austin. That's very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. And Martin Fali, hello from Berlin. Oh, hello, Martin. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Crash Cart Wrestling says, watching from work and gonna head to Barnes & Noble afterwards. Any recommendations? I'm new to the collection. Oh, wow. That's a very... that's a question that's open to a lot of possibilities. Perhaps too much to mention in this particular live stream because it's the Criterion Collection is quite vast. But it really depends. I think go there and see what it is that's on the shelves and see if there's anything that maybe that seems interesting to you. There are some great descriptions on the back of the boxes, of course. There are many people here who have many suggestions of what is a good Criterion title, etc. You might be interested in checking out that video that I was mentioning before about the Criterion poll, excuse me, because on the comment section, you can see a lot of people who've mentioned their top 10 favorite Criterion titles. And so it's one of the fun things about that video, in fact, is just scrolling through the comments and seeing what other people have said. It's really, really great. Now, I have tried to make a number of videos starting from way back, starting from, I think, last year, mentioning just some titles that I thought might be of interest to some people. So, but it really depends. It's hard for me to say exactly. It might be it might be better in the long run to see what's there first, because then you can kind of get a more good feel, and based on your own likes and dislikes, get a feel of what is interesting to you. And then if you have any questions about that, you can let us know at any time. Also, I do have some videos up elsewhere in this channel, so you can check out some of those if you have the opportunity, if you're interested in, of course. There's no pressure. You don't have to check out any more videos here if you don't want to, but in case you're interested, of course. And then Fleetwood Farrell says, yeah, can never go wrong with 12 Angry Men. Yeah, that's a good question. And Austin says, just watch Walkabout last night. Opinions on it. I thought it was interesting how it came out 2 years before Malick's Badlands. The style is very similar. Cheers from LA. Oh, it's very interesting. So Walkabout, I think I made a video about Walkabout last year. So if you're interested, of course, you can please check it out. There's no pressure. You don't have to do that if you don't feel like it. So, but it is there somewhere. So I did mention Walkabout in my comments about it in that video, and I do have I find that film quite interesting. And I'm intrigued about your mentioning Badlands. They are made somewhat close in time to each other. They do share some things, I would say, arguably, that might be similar visually, but I think for the most part, there are some striking differences between the two that I would think make for some very interesting compare and contrast analysis. So that's interesting that you mentioned that, Austin. So thank you very much for that. It's intriguing. Yes, Walkabout and Badlands. It's interesting. Oh, anyway, Unity Duty of Destiny says, good morning. I said, good morning. I hope you're well. Have you seen The Lighthouse? Yes. No, I haven't. And yet that's another film that is that I don't know when it's going to get released here in Japan. You know, there's usually a difference in scheduling and timing with respect to releases, films that are released, let's say, in North America, and then the same films that are released in Japan later. Sometimes there's quite a big difference between the different points in time. And so I don't know when the film is going to get released here in Tokyo, to be perfectly honest. But if it does show up, and if I'm able to catch it, I want to see it, because I know people have been mentioning it to me a lot. Incidentally, the films that are released here at the moment, I think I think Joker is in the theaters now, but I haven't seen it. So I just because, as some of you may know, it's just my schedule is such that the only time I'd be able to see a film in the theater, at least as currently, is during the weekend when I'm off from work. I have weekends off, but usually now with my children, they're still quite young, and so my time during the weekend is usually spent with the family or with the children more than it is me being able to take some time out and go watch a movie in the theater. And so at the moment, it's a little bit difficult for me to go out to the theater if it's not a film that I think everyone can watch. So I don't know if I don't think that I'll be taking my children to see Joker with me. So I don't want to do that. But in fact, actually, we are going to be seeing a film tomorrow. In fact, today's Saturday and tomorrow's Sunday here, and so my wife is busy with some other things, but it'll be me and my daughter and my son. And my son is 3, my daughter is 7, and we're going to be going to the theater. And it'll be great because it'll actually be the first time we'll be taking our son to see a movie theater, to see a movie in the movie theater. So it'll be his first movie going experience. It's a kids animation film in Japan here, and it's an animation that my daughter in particular is a really big fan of, and so it'll be an exciting time. So that'll be my son's first experience with going to the movie theater. So, but so when I go to the movie theater, I'll ask about the Lighthouse, but I don't. Again, it's tough. For instance, I remember the film. Do you remember the Luca Guadagnino film Suspiria? And I think Suspiria, if I recall, was released in North America around, I want to say around the like October-ish, before maybe September, October, something like that, 2018. Released in Japan until January, the end of January 2019. And so I was actually looking forward to that film immensely, very, very much. And I had to wait. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's, what is it, 4 months or so? It's not so long, but at the time, for 3 months, 4 months or something. At the time, I remember it was quite it was quite agonizing because it was I was very much anticipating watching this film, and I couldn't and I was trying to ignore all the spoiler discussions on it, but sometimes that happens. And then I watched the film. It was day one when it opened here, and I watched the film, and I was very impressed with it. Although I do, I think it's more of a complicated discussion if you're talking about the film in the context of together with the Dario Argento work, which I still think is an unparalleled masterpiece. But that happens with films when they're released here in Japan. Not always, but sometimes. Let's see. It usually doesn't happen with the big blockbuster films, at least depending on the film. But it usually doesn't happen with that. I don't. Again, I haven't seen the films, but like the big films like Marvel's, what is it, Avengers. What's that one called? And Endgame, and Avengers Endgame, I think that was released here in Tokyo theaters around the same time. Maybe there might have been a week difference, I don't know, but it was around the same time as North American release. I seem to recall Star Wars films usually have a fairly short time window as well. Yeah, although I remember, what was it? It was the way back, many, many years ago, The Dark Knight Rises. I remember I was really anticipating seeing that film, and I was living in, I was living in New York at the time. I think was that right? I was living in New York at the time that Dark Knight arrived in theaters, and that was really great. And then I was living in in Japan when The Dark Knight Rises was released, and that was really great because I thought it was great in terms of the anticipation, and it was really exciting. I have some issues with the film, but what was I saying? The film, if I recall, now this is some time back, but if I recall, there was a delay of, I think, a month or so between its release in North America and its release here in Japan. That's what I remember. So if my memory is not incorrect, then that's another example of a delay between the release dates in North America and Japan. So yeah, so that's just one of the things that makes me unable to participate in the up-to-date current conversations on the most recent films. It's that sometimes it's just I'm unable to do so, and I might have to wait for the Blu-ray release or something like that, or something. And so I don't. It's very difficult for me, therefore, to. That's one of the reasons why I'm unable to participate in conversations about Oscar races and things like that, the Academy Awards or something, because I'm not able to see the films, and so yeah. So when The Lighthouse comes or when Parasite comes, I will try my best to see them, but that's usually the state of things here in Tokyo. So. Let's see. All right, so okay. Vinny says, I could use some recommendations too. Was thinking about grabbing The Red Shoes and 12 Angry Men. Well, that's great. I think 12 Shoes and 12 Angry Men. I'm not, what did I say 12 Shoes? I meant The Red Shoes. Wow, that would be an interesting film, but 12 Shoes. But anyway, the Red Shoes and 12 Angry Men, those are really great. If you are interested in other films, if you like The Red Shoes, you might also like other films by Powell and Pressburger that are currently in the collection. I might recommend, for example, The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, which is great. The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, I think that's an interesting one. I was just watching a YouTube review by Mark Kermode, and he was reviewing The Irishman, the Martin Scorsese film The Irishman, and there's a lot of talk about, I haven't seen the film yet either, but there's a lot of talk about how the film spans a long number of years. Well, I think a similar thing is happening with The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, and so that's a really fascinating work of art. Also by Powell and Pressburger. It's quite ingenious in many places. It's also a bit. It's also very poignant and very emotional. So that's one that I would recommend strongly. And also in terms of visual spectacle, you cannot go wrong with the film Black Narcissus, also by Powell and Pressburger. That is a kind of one-of-a-kind, I don't know, it's a sort of melodrama, suspense, almost a horror film in a way, and it's in beautiful color. That's one of the most memorable films that from the Archers, and so that's great. And also, if you're looking for a really lovely film that is almost like the epitome of what that feeling is, in terms of a deep human emotion that is described as being like love or something like that. The sort of intense emotion between one human being and another human being. I think that feeling is sort of, in an interesting artistic and poetic way, examined under the microscope, so to speak, in a film called A Matter of Life and Death, which is another Powell and Pressburger film that I strongly recommend. That is a splendid film. Such a delight and quite profound, profoundly moving in many of its aspects. So I hope, and there are other films, of course, so many more that I could mention, but oh gosh. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the Criterion Collection, my friend. Tim, hello. Hope all is well. Yes, thank you very much. Funeral Parade of Roses and Late Spring will be playing on the big screen near me soon. Hoping to check those out this month. Wow, that is amazing. I have never seen. Have I seen Late Spring in the screen? No, I haven't seen Late Spring in the movie theater. Of course, I've seen Late Spring many, many times, but never in the movie theater. I've never seen Funeral Parade of Roses in the movie theater. It's I have it. I have actually. I have three copies of it for two Japanese releases and then the U.S. release. So I'm very jealous if you're able to see those two films in the theater. Funeral Parade of Roses is a film that I've mentioned briefly, perhaps on this channel. Have I mentioned it on this channel? Maybe I haven't. Maybe I have. I forget. But it's not in the Criterion Collection, not in the physical media catalog anyway. But that is one of those I consider to be a kind of landmark film in Japanese cinema. I think anyone who is I'm not a student of Japanese cinema per se, but in a sort of amateur opinion that I have, I still think that the film Funeral Parade of Roses is one that every person who is a fan of Japanese cinema needs to see. It's a kind of pastiche of many art forms. It is a kind of it breaks the fourth wall. It is a kind of a meta film in that sense. It is also it's a film that's deeply rooted in very fundamental fundamental narrative structures, if you will. It is also very exciting. It is very bold. It is visually quite stunning. It is just one of those supreme works of art in Japanese cinema. And so I think anyone who is interested in Japanese cinema needs to watch. There are a number of films that I think one needs to watch if one really wants to get into Japanese cinema as a kind of primer of Japanese cinema, if you will. That's my own subjective opinion, of course. But I think one of those films, in my own subjective opinion, is Funeral Parade of Roses. It's just one of those key films. And it's so key, so key. So I'm very jealous if you're able to see that in the big screen. I'm so happy that you were able to do so. And there's that. So Donald, hello. Donald Blakesley, hello. It's nice to see you as always, my friend. I hope you're well. And Flegel Farrell says, does anyone recommend the 1985 film Clue? Wow, what a question. Does anyone recommend the film Clue? I do. I recommend the film Clue. I adore that film to bits. There's so gosh, I don't want to. If I start quoting it, it might spoil it. But right, I that's one of the films that I was when I was a kid, I rented from the video store, and the video store had the VHS of Clue, and that was one that you could just watch over and over and over and over again, never grow tired of it. I rented it so many times. It was just it'd probably have been more worthwhile if to my family if we had purchased it, perhaps. But oh gosh, that is such a great film. It never gets stale at all. And it has so many the range of comedy in that is so great. It's not just one kind of comedy. It's a broad net of different styles of comedy based on the performances. Eileen Brennan and Christopher Lloyd and Madeline Kahn, Michael McKean, etc. Of course, and many others. Of course, it's that great performance by Tim Curry. It's really great. And I remember I had she was Yvette in Yvette the Maid. When I was a kid when I watched it, I had such a crush on Yvette, Colleen Camp, and it was amazing. And so, that I think I went from Clue, and then I discovered Police Academy 2, their first assignment. I think Colleen Camp, that was the first time that her character appears in the Police Academy universe, right? That whole storyline with Tackleberry, and so that made me love Police Academy 2 all the more. Well, Yvette the Maid, actually, that's one of a very complex character in that film, a really complex character, and I think all the characters there are really complex. Even the maid, what's her name? What's her line? Dinner will be ready at 7:30. I love that. And then, right, uh, 1 + 2 + 2 + 1, right? Or is it 1 + 2 + 1 + 1? And so, I recommend it strongly. It's great. Again, I don't want to say too much more, but I don't want to spoil Clue for anyone who hasn't seen it. But okay, and let's see. Just want to. Oops, sorry about this. Sorry, but my computer is a little bit. Sorry about this. My computer is a little bit odd. It's not acting up. It's acting up a little bit. So, sorry. Let me just set it up again. Just give me 1 second here. Just lost my place. Odd. Sorry about this. Let me just set up my computer here again for 1 second, and please, in the meantime, please talk amongst yourselves. Okay. Let's see. Okay, sorry about this. Now I'm back. Thank you. Okay, so and it's almost 8 o'clock, so I think I'm gonna just get going very soon. But let's see. Okay, and then now that I have come back, I've lost my spot in the. I'm in the live chat here. I have to scroll, but I'm so terrible with this. I'm so bad with this stuff sometimes. I really apologize. So Tim Home says, I also saw a great film by Nobuhiko Obayashi, yes, called His Motorbike Island. Yes, I know that film. Oh, that's great. Interesting. Obayashi is a very interesting filmmaker, of course, whose works, of course, it starts with House, but it goes beyond. His filmography is really quite vast, and so, that's great, really great. Let's see. Jared says Of Mice and Men is a quite moving film. Yes, Of Mice and Men. That was one of the works that I read a lot when I was growing up. Really, that's an intense read. Yeah, such a great work. Let's see. Carl's Rants and Reviews says Godzilla set is awesome. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And, as I say, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the Godzilla set, which I pre-ordered, and I pre-ordered it based on a kind of hope within hope that it would somehow arrive earlier than arrivals from overseas usually do. And so now it's the 9th, and so it's been, I don't know, fingers crossed it might arrive today. It's now Saturday morning. It might arrive today, but I'm not sure. I'm so looking forward to receiving that. I can't, I can't tell you the height of my anticipation. It's at a fever pitch, and I I'm very happy because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who are on the ground, so to speak, with your Barnes and Noble stores in your local vicinity, you will know better than I. But my sense, based off of what people have been saying on their YouTube channels when they've been making videos about the Godzilla set, or about maybe people have been posting information on certain online, let's say, forum groups or something that I might be a part of. But my sense is that, based off of those, again, this is sort of anecdotal evidence, is that the Godzilla set is selling very well. I don't know if it's going like ultimate. It's I don't know. Maybe it's flying off the shelves. I'm not sure, but please correct me if I'm wrong. But my sense is that it's, at the very least, it's selling well, and it's a popular item for purchase at the Barnes & Noble, especially now with the 50% off. So if that's the case, then that makes me very, very happy. And my sense also is that I think a lot of people who are maybe new to this Showa era film series of Godzilla are still getting the set. And if that's the case, that's really wonderful, because that means that more people are getting exposed to these films. Now, let's wait and see, of course, what the reactions will be after people watch the films. Maybe people will love them even more. Who knows? Maybe it'll go in the opposite direction. Who knows? But at the very least, I think this is allowing a number of people to be able to see Godzilla films in this one-stop shop, so to speak. Which is really great. This is a big deal. In Japan, the Godzilla films, the Showa era films at least, were never released in one set in Blu-ray form. At least as far as I recall, they were always released individually. The Toho, the people in charge. What is it? It's the Toho Visual Entertainment. That's the name of the company that apparently releases the Godzilla films in home media form. And they've released the Blu-rays here in Japan. But the Blu-rays in Japan never came in any complete one set, so you could never get them in one set. At least as far as I understand it, at least as that now is concerned, you have to get them individually. I remember there was a campaign maybe around 2014 or so, where if you got all of the Blu-rays and you sent in like proof of purchase or something like that to Toho, then then you would get a box, and you could put all the Blu-rays in a box or something like, I forget, but I never did that. But I didn't want to do that. But the Godzilla films were always available in DVD form, and they were in box sets. And in fact, I might have, yes, here. This is one of the sets. There's the 5th disc, which is missing at the moment. It's actually over there. It's a bonus disc, and actually I'll talk about that when I talk about the Godzilla set, because the bonus disc actually has some features that are I understand is one of the features in the Godzilla Showa era set. But what was I saying? So the Godzilla films were released in DVD form. They were released individually, and they also came in these sets like this. There were 5 of them. This is the second one. Do I have yeah, here's the first one. The first one is here. Oops, the first one is here. Did I drop something? The first one is here, and that's the first one. And there's a bonus disc here. The bonus disc is actually over there as well, and I'll get to that in a second. But the first set had Godzilla, Gojira, Godzilla Raids Again, King Kong versus Godzilla, and Mothra versus Godzilla. And then the second set had Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Invasion of Astro Monster, Ebirah, Horror of the Deep, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, and All Monsters Attack. And then there is a third set, which I have over there, which is the continuation of the Heisei, the Showa era. So it would be Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and then Terror of Mechagodzilla, and then a bonus disc. And then actually there's a fourth set, which is over there, and there's a fifth set, which is a continuation of the films up to the end of the Heisei era. So there were 5 box sets, and each set had its own bonus disc, and which is great, because the bonus, as I said, you could get these titles also individually, but the bonus disc that was included with each of these sets couldn't be purchased individually for whatever reason. And so if you wanted to get the bonus disc that came with each of these sets, you could only get them in the set. At least that was my understanding, which is really quite irritating, because there are a lot of great features on the bonus discs that you know if you wanted to get it, you had to get the set. So that's just more money, which is really quite irritating. I wish they could release them in more sort of user-friendly fashion, but that's a conversation for another day. But one of the great things about the Godzilla Showa era collection from Criterion is that Criterion have actually included, I understand, they've included one special feature called, what's the title in English? It's like Toho unused special effects or something like that. Well, that is one of the special features that is included in the bonus disc of one of the sets here. In other words, that is something that you have to, it's very difficult to get that in Japan, unless you get these sets. And I think these sets are actually becoming somewhat difficult to get, and they're not out of print yet, but they might be soon, I'm not sure. But it's really wonderful that the Criterion Collection has included that particular supplement, if it's indeed the same supplement that I'm thinking about, which is this unused special effects thing, which is really great. Incidentally, there is also another set. Yeah, it's right here, actually. I can show it really quickly if you want. The set is, I've been just going through this because, excuse me here, right here, this is it's called the Final Box, and so this has, there's another disc which I have out. I've been going over it, actually. It's on the shelf there, but this is the final box as well, and so I can just put it on its side and just you know what that looks. So this is all the in Japan. This is what it looks like that. It's called Final Box, and it says Final because it also includes all the films. It's all the films on DVD for each of the Godzilla films series. So there's that. So that's the first one, obviously, and it goes in order all the way up to Final Wars. And then there is there's a disc here which actually I have out because I've been just watching it on occasion here. But it's out of the box at the moment. Where is it? I can pull it out for you if I want. But oh gosh, it's somewhere over there. Sorry about that. Maybe it's my plan to show it. I should let you know that when the Godzilla set arrives, it's my intention to make a video not just about that set, but also about the Godzilla individual Criterion release, the Blu-ray release. That was from some years back, because it's very important, I think, to do a comparison of those. So if you know the Godzilla Blu-ray release, you might know that there is a supplement there dealing with the special effects photography. And it's from 2 staff members of the special effects crew, or the photography crew, etc., from that. The special effects crew from that, from the first film. Now that supplement, I don't know if you know this, but that particular supplement that's featured on the Criterion release of Godzilla, as far as I can tell, is not available in any kind of supplement that's included in any individual release of the film Godzilla here in Japan, which is a real shame, because I think that's a really great supplement. In other words, it doesn't this is for instance another Blu-ray of Godzilla in Japan. This is the Japanese Blu-ray. It doesn't appear as a supplement in this Blu-ray. It doesn't appear as a supplement on any of the other DVD releases that I showed. It only appears as it doesn't appear as a supplement here on this individual thing here. It only appears as a supplement in Japan, believe it or not, on this missing disc here, which is on the somewhere over there, which is the supplements disc for this particular box set. In other words, that supplement that's found very easily on the Criterion release of Godzilla, dealing with the special effects, is something that you can only get in Japan if you get this box set, which includes this particular disc. And the disc, as far as I can tell, is not made available individually. So that's another thing that I think it really drives me kind of up the wall sometimes with Japanese releases. I love Japanese releases, don't get me wrong, but there's a real, I'm not sure, it's almost like there's nothing that is available in one place, in one sort of depository of supplement or features on one release. You have to go to different places if you want to get the full range of supplemental releases of these films, at least with Japanese releases, which is a real shame. Now, that's not to say that the Criterion box set is perfect. I understand that those films are really I think I'm just, how should I put it? Well, I don't want to get too much into that because I don't have the set yet. But the one thing that I was really hoping was that the set would have released the films. I mean, at the very least, they could have had what's his name? I understand Steve Rifle and Ed Gochisensky were involved in the essays, right? And so they have some really great audio commentary tracks, for example, on other U.S. DVD releases of the films, which are available, I think, online somewhere. But it would have been nice, at the very least, if I mean, if those audio commentary tracks couldn't be made available for the Criterion release due to licensing, whatever, it would have been nice, at the very least, if there could have been maybe a discussion from those two gentlemen about the rest of the films, maybe as its own supplement on the Criterion release. Who knows? That would have been really great. As it stands now, I understand that the new set includes a discussion from Alex Cox, if I'm not mistaken. And I love Alex Cox. I think he really phrases things very well. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know how good that is. I haven't seen it yet, but hopefully the Alex Cox interview about the Showa era films will be really good. I'm looking forward to that. But my point is that it would have been, I don't know, gosh, I mean, it would have been really nice to see just a little bit more on that front with respect to the Showa era films, and I don't know what what was allowed for Criterion to do, what wasn't. Sometimes there have been, not with Criterion, but Toho has in the past, with other releases of the films by other labels, it's been known that Toho, or the legend is that Toho usually can be very difficult when it comes to certain releases of its films in the United States with certain supplemental tracks or certain supplements. There's a famous, my understanding is that, for example, with respect to the release of the film Destroy All Monsters, and also with the release of the film Godzilla vs. Megalon. These films were also released by other labels in North America before Criterion released its box set. So they've been around for quite a number of years, in fact, and they've been on DVD. And in fact, I think those films are on Blu-ray. And so they were actually released on Blu-ray or DVD and Blu-ray, and there was a moment there when they were released in North America with special features on their Blu-rays by these other labels. But then apparently there was a disagreement or something with the licensor side, the Toho licensor side, such that the films they then had to be released without the special features there. So in fact, the official releases of these Destroy All Monsters and Godzilla versus Megalon in North America on these Blu-rays outside of Criterion, the official releases of those are actually ones without special features, sans special features. But actually, if you look carefully enough, you can find the early release batch Blu-rays of those that do have the special features, and so it's one of the things you can look for if you're looking for any kind of Blu-ray, separate Blu-ray of Destroy All Monsters or Godzilla vs. Megalon. Try to look for the ones that have the special features on them. But my point is that I don't know if the Godzilla set, the Criterion set, goes into those films very much at all, which is a real shame because there's so much, I think, there to talk about. There's so much history. I mean, regardless of the actual contents of the film, what one thinks of the contents of the film, there's so much history with respect to the development of Toho at the time, how Toho viewed these films, what the box office results were of these films, how this registered with the audiences who were watching these films, how the films tended towards children, and how Toho tended to cater the films towards that children audience for the most part. The special effects development, what the behind the scenes were. Eiji Tsuburaya is a very, very big name. He's obviously well known. He's one of the most famous figures in this kind of it. He's probably one of, if not the most famous figure in this sort of genre of Japanese entertainment, and so this kind of history is so rich and very interesting, and there's a lot of stuff going on here, and one of the things that's also really great is the Blu-rays of these releases often have audio commentary tracks by actors who performed in these films, also by technicians or staff members who were working on the films, etc. And so it's really nice to hear their takes on them. And one of the things that's really great as sort of anecdotal stories that you hear, some people talk about, I think one of the great things that's mentioned a lot is the differences in style between Honda, the director Honda, who directed many of the films here, and also Kurosawa, who was also a Toho filmmaker, contemporary filmmaker at the time. And so you had a lot of actors who were appearing in these Godzilla films who also appeared in, let's say, Kurosawa films. And so you have a lot of anecdotes from these people, and also staff members as well, who had a crossover like this. And so it's interesting to hear their conversations about the differences in working style between, let's say, Honda and these tokusatsu eiga on the one hand, and then Kurosawa on his Kurosawa films on the other hand. There's actually quite a difference in style, and there's a little bit of, I don't want to get into that too much, but I don't know if any of that is going to get captured in its essence in the Criterion set that will be arriving here very shortly. I hope it's there, and if it is, that's great. But we'll see about that. Also, I understand that the and I haven't discussed this yet, but I will discuss it soon. But I think the David Kallett commentaries, I think, are really great in terms of their content. How should I say it? I have a certain, that's my own personal choice, my own personal approach, of course, but I have a little bit of, when I have this thing about, if people do commentary tracks for films and I'm watching the film and listening to the commentary track, I like to have the commentary track, I generally prefer to have it a little bit, how should I put it, the voice be a bit monotone, in terms of its delivery. And that's because it's just easier for me, it's easier on my ear to listen to. And I think the Khaled commentary tracks for both the Japanese version and then King of the Monsters version, the Raymond Burr Americanized version, are really great, packed with a lot of information, very informative. Just the delivery, I think, it has a little bit of a slight performance aspect to it that I think might have been a little bit easier on my ear had it been just toned down a little bit in terms of that respect. But don't get me wrong, the actual content itself, I think, is really great and very informative. So it's great to have. Although it would have been also nice to have the commentary work that was done by Rifle and Gojicensky on the one hand, and also Rifle and Gojicensky and Keith Aiken as well. It would have been great to have their work there as well included, if it were possible. But c'est la vie, as it were. But yeah. So anyway, there I go again. Just Godzilla sets, yes. So anyway, my friends, sorry about that. I tend to just go off the cuff like that in such a way. I'm really sorry about that. Let's see. Just scrolling down here really quick. If I skip your comment, I really apologize. I have to go in about a few minutes anyway. So, Mr. K, I lived in Tokyo for several years, and every movie is released months after the rest of the world. Yes, yes, amazing country, but I don't miss that. You know, my thoughts exactly, my friend. I love this country very much. I love living here very much. Don't get me wrong, but oh man, that wait time is just yeah, it's sometimes a little bit difficult, but oh well. It's once it's over. Then you know, I forget about it. But the wait time during is a little bit tough. But yeah, all right. And that's the thing. Also, yeah. And Logjeb says I wanted to see The Irishman in theater, but it's not playing anywhere here. Yeah, same with me too. It was playing once, one showing or one day, 3 showings. At the end of the Tokyo International Film Festival, and I tried to get tickets. Believe me, I tried to get tickets. I was there. I was, you know, when the site opened, and I tried to get there, and my wife was helping me as well. But we blocked out of the site immediately. We couldn't get through. The traffic, I think, was overwhelming. We couldn't break through. Couldn't get a ticket. I was actually quite heartbroken by that, and I was very sad that night. Actually, I was so much looking forward to seeing that in the theater, but I couldn't. So, I don't think I'll be able to see that in the theaters. But I will initiate a Netflix subscription. I don't have a subscription started yet, but I will start that very soon in order to be able to see that film, because I really want to see that film. All right, so just scrolling through here. Skull Salad, it's good to see you. Been a while, but I've been busy with uni. So I hope you are doing well and your studies and things like that. That's great. But thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Best of luck to you in your studies, my friend. Okay, and Thomas is here. Thomas, what's the colorful CD behind you? The one with lots of color squares? The color squares? Oh, this one? This one? The color squares. Oh, this is not a CD. This is actually a DVD set of another Godzilla item. This is a good place to end, I think. So this will be the last thing I'll do, and I'll end it here. But this is actually, I haven't shown this before, but this is a set called Godzilla Island, Gojira Island. And this is a DVD set of this kind of TV show that, it's not really even a show, it's more like these are kind of short things that were shown on Japanese TV. And in the late 90s. And they're kind of like, they use live action actors, and they cut them in with these Godzilla monster scenes, but the monster scenes are all like done with figures and action figures and toys. So it's a very low budget type of thing. But it was shown, I think, on network television here in Japan during the late 90s. And so this is a DVD compilation or DVD collection of those episodes. And that's what this is. It's again called Godzilla Island. I think you can find, you can very easily watch you can very easily watch the episodes online, I think on YouTube for free. I'm not sure if they're subtitled or not, but you can, and I think it's very interesting. It's not essential to the lore of Godzilla, but I think it's nice because it's yet another, it's a very charming approach and a very bite-sized version approach. I mean, all the episodes are very, very short, but it's a very nice approach to the way in which Godzilla is getting the kind of attention and love in Japan. You know, Godzilla, I wouldn't say Godzilla is this huge thing. I mean, not everyone in Japan loves Godzilla. I don't even think everyone in Japan knows of Godzilla. It's well known as a kind of image, and people know of Godzilla, I'm sure. But in terms of toys and things like that, you know, when I go to this isn't any measure, of course, but when I go, for example, to a toy store, just a general toy store that's in the area, they won't have Godzilla toys. They'll have Ultraman toys, but they won't have Godzilla toys and stuff. And so Godzilla merchandise, for instance, is actually not so easy to find. You can't go to a regular toy store usually and get them. You have to go to, let's say, bigger toy stores and things like that. Ultraman is much more of a presence here, I would say. But Godzilla is still kind of known, and there are, I think, many ways to see Godzilla here. There is, for example, a great YouTube channel. I think it's the official Godzilla YouTube channel, and you can see Godzilla episodes, Go Go Gojira and things like that, that are being made now, which are really, actually, really great. I don't know if they're subtitled. Maybe they are, but if you can check out the Gojira YouTube channel. There are some really funny episodes there. But part of that tradition came in some part from here, Gojira Island, which is a very tongue-in-cheek, very cute depiction of this world, and it has a kind of a following that is very endearing and charming. This isn't in any way, I think this is more of a how should I put it? This is something that I've been watching. I've never seen all the episodes. I've seen many of the episodes, but I haven't seen all of them, and so I've been just catching up with this in anticipation of my Godzilla revisitation when the set arrives from the Criterion Collection, when it arrives here in Japan, and it hasn't yet. But so I've been anticipating Godzilla a lot, and so that's what this is. And so it's called Godzilla Island. It's really great. I love this too. They have the sort of 8-bit or 16-bit, I don't know, the depictions of all the kaiju. Not all, but many of the kaiju systems. You've got Hedra here, and King Ghidorah, and Gigan, and I love this. Love that here. Yes, Jet Jaguar here, and King Caesar or King Shisa. So that's great. I was listening also to a podcast in Japanese about. It was a podcast devoted to Ultraman, but they had an episode there, here and there, about Godzilla, and so I was just great. And I love that too, because it's a very niche podcast, but they were talking about the strategies, the fighting strategies of all the monsters, as they did in this particular film, and so it's really great. Again, that's not to say that every Japanese person in the country thinks this way, but there is a very strong following of Godzilla in all its iterations here in Japan, and so I think this is just another example of that, which is Godzilla Island. It's really cute, really charming. I show this to my kids, and they seem to like it very much. And so there's that. But that's what this is. This set is not subtitled in English or anything like that, so I wouldn't necessarily suggest purchasing this. Also, it is quite expensive, I think, if you're going to get it new. So I don't know, and not to. I mean, I live in Japan, so I don't have to worry about shipping. But if you're going to get this and add shipping costs, oh, I can't imagine what that cost will be total. So, but that's what that is. So it's nice. It's really good. And as I say, you can watch some of the episodes. Godzilla Island. You can watch some of those episodes, I think, for free on YouTube. So if you just type in Godzilla Island, I'm sure some episodes will come up, and so you can just get a feel for what those episodes are. They're, as I say, they're really cute and very charming. So, all right, my friends. Sorry about this. I am going to get going here, but I'm just seeing here if I've skipped your comment. I am so sorry, my friends. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to, but I'll just see really quickly if I can just make some last minute. Iacona 23 is here. Martin Hodgson is here. Hello. Luca Zach Forever. I hope I got that right. So from Italy, wow, that's great. So thank you. Gerald is here. Great. Near Dark. Oh gosh, I wish I had time to talk about Near Dark. Oh gosh. And Dungeon Studio, our dear friend, is here. MBP is here as well. So hello. And Malenium, I hope I got that pronounced correct. If I didn't, I apologize. I was asking about late spring one. Yes. Oh gosh, I wish I had time. All things. I would just say about late spring really quickly is if you didn't like it the first time, that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing that says that you have to like a film. Just give it, maybe see if you can revisit the film. You don't have to do it immediately, but if you are in the mood, maybe sometime later down the line, a year from now, perhaps, maybe a couple months, a year, maybe more, who knows, maybe down the line, see if you can get into it again. Give it another chance. In other words, if you don't like a film now, see if you can just give it another chance sometime down the line. It might have a different impact on you as one gets older and as one life changes and progresses. That's how things are with a lot of things and a lot of films. So, or maybe not. Who knows? It really depends on you and your own experience. So, but best of luck with you on that. I hope you have a great time. Just Another God is here. Hello. And let's see. Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying not to skip over anyone. Let's see. Hedlundman from Sweden. Hello. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Ivy Scarf. Hello, says, I find All Monsters Attack very underrated, to be honest. Oh, Ivy Scarf, thank you so much for that comment. You and I are on the same page with All Monsters Attack. I said I have to go, but let me just do this and now go. So the All Monsters Attack is one of it's the one that I think people name as being one of, if not the worst Godzilla film. Perhaps for good reason, because its structure is radically different. It is a difference in style and approach. Admittedly, there is a heavy reliance on stock footage, so it could be seen as being the worst. But there's something very charming about the film. There is a kind of human story there. Come on, it's okay. It's okay. You just woke up. All right, come on, buddy. All right, we have a special guest who just woke up. Did you just wake up, buddy?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So let's say, look at that. I love your hair. You have cool hair today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. That's cool. What's your name again? What's your name?
Pretty.
Huh? Your name is Leo? Oh, Leo. So we're talking about All Monsters Attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the monster design is great. Their Gabara, I think, is really cool. I think that whole thing with Minilla and the boy is really charming and very.
No, go to there.
Godzilla, Gojira. Do you like Gojira?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Really? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Mwah. So, yeah, I'm actually a great admirer of that film, All Monsters Attack. And what was I saying? It has a there's a kind of a human story there. There's an angle there about child neglect. There's also about loneliness. It's also about bullying, and these are sort of I don't know if they were necessarily social issues that were prominent at the time the film was made, but they do have the film does have that sort of social issues edge about the film.
Go to the.
I know, Gosha, that's right. That is, yeah, look at that. It's very cool. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah,
Papa.
very cool. That's Rodan, or Radon.
Papa.
That's right, that's King Ghidorah. That's Gigan.
Papa.
That's Jet Jaguar. Yeah.
Le.
That's Baragon. No, that's Rodan.
Le.
Hmm?
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. So, what was I saying? So this, I guess my point before I go is that I think the film that comes after that is the film Godzilla versus Hedorah, right? So All Monsters Attack was 1969. Godzilla versus Hedorah is 1971. Hedorah has a very direct social message, about the environment and pollution. And I think that's very evident when you watch the film. It could be said that All Monsters Attack has a similar kind of social message regarding these issues that I think are on the fore in that film. Now, again, whether that was on purpose or not, I think I don't think it was on purpose, but it does have that nice through line, if you will, of addressing these issues, and it does address issues in a way that these issues affect children. What is it? The latchkey kid, right? In other words, he comes home and his parents are working because of their economic situation and stuff. So that is I think a really good film, and it's one that is one that is, I think, underrated. Hopefully, it might get more attention given the criterion set, but who knows? But anyway, this is my cue to say goodbye. Thank you very much. Let's see, Skull Salad. I hope you're well. Duckbacker. Sorry if I couldn't talk long, but I hope you're well. And let's see. Great. Anyway, my friends, I hope you're well, and talk to you again very soon. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Yes, that's right. Thank you. I was looking for this. Where did you find it? Here? Oh, wow. Good job. Thank you. Want to put it on the table? Thank you. Perfect. Oh, perfect. All right. You want to say goodbye, buddy?
Yeah.
All right. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. What do you want to do now? You want to go for a walk?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Give me 5. Oh, nice. Can you do it the other way? The other hand? Here. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Cheers. Oh, you want to close that?
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. All right, we're done. And thank you very much, my friends, again, for joining us. Thank you for this. Thank you. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone? And you want to push the button? Here. Push the button. Right there. Yep, we're still on. Yep. Push the button here. And then we're done. And then end.